Hello and welcome back to the second season of TalkGG. I'm your host, Defur, and tagging along with me for this ride is the Dave. In this pilot, or introduction episode, we'll briefly go over our plans and expectations for this season, so you know what you're getting yourself into. In the first season of TalkGG, we explored esports and nerd culture in many aspects, but in many ways I personally felt like this wasn't focused enough, as we were basically in uncharted territories for each topic in each episode. Which is why I approached Dave not too long ago with a pitch for the second season of TalkGG, where we're switching things up with a new format and adding the tagline Nichesports. Let me explain. Right now, there's a ton of content out there focusing on the ever-growing phenomenon we call esports. The digital titan that is starting to encroach on regular sports in every aspect, whether that is viewer numbers, salaries, interest, or influence. As this is happening, the window of success for a competitive game is both widening and narrowing at the same time. There's a lot more games coming out today than ever before, but only a few of them ever get to see the spotlight. And if we start to look past the focus on profits for companies and corporations, we start to find the competitive games grassroots communities for a seemingly endless list of games, filled with passion and innovation. And that's where we'll be focusing our attention for this season. There won't be an episode on CSGO, there won't be an episode on League of Legends, Hearthstone or Overwatch. We won't talk about the new compounds for esports teams such as Team Liquid or 100 Thieves. And we definitely won't be focusing on the latest drama between North American players who earn more than most of us in several lifetimes. This is where we look for the smaller communities, the passionate and seemingly immortal groups of gamers that you may be unaware of, or maybe play something that you've never even heard of before. The niche esport games and communities. This is TalkGG Nichesports. Now, as with any other podcast, you'll probably ask yourself, why should I listen to any schmuck talking about this? So let me hit you with some confidence here and let me tell you. If you don't know me or haven't been following along with my life events on Twitter, which I won't fault you for, I recently departed from my job at an esports company as a content manager. And while unrelated for the reason for doing so, I realized that, hey, I'm pretty knowledgeable when it comes to esports, to the point that I was approached many times as the esports expert within the company itself. Not necessarily because of my skills in the games, but more because of my way of finding and learning about competitive games themselves. Getting myself in the communities and finding out what drives them has been one of the tasks that intrigued me most in this role. While I haven't been a professional player, I have competed in dozens of games and helped host events and build communities for other titles. It's a bit of a dead meme in my own stream, but I do have a game design degree and have worked with games in Japan as well. Joining me again for this ride is someone who I met in Japan. Now this is a little bit weird, but let me take a stab at introducing Dave here, which is joining me on the cast. While Dave and I have slightly different relationships to esports and competitive games, I've been intrigued with his insights and knowledge in marketing and interest in nerd culture, whether that is denim, idols, or Overwatch League, or the fantastical world of gacha games such as Genshin Impact. We have a shared interest in niche nerd culture, and more importantly, as we will be bringing on guests for this season, Dave is a great person to talk to and is probably 10 times of a better listener than I will ever be. He also streams regularly on Twitch, and I won't lie when I say that participating in his chat has been therapeutic in these isolated times. So I'm happy that we can continue these talks, and Dave, what do you think about the introduction? Did I get it right?
Yeah, it was pretty good, dude.
Yeah, but it feels good. Like, obviously, if you're listening to this now, this previous bit has been a bit pre-written, but this is now the spontaneous bit where we're kind of getting into what we want to do with this season and this topic. So I'm kind of wondering, Dave, like when we initially talked about this, what was the kind of thing that made you enticed about it? I think you mentioned something about hearing the stories of, people and hearing about their passion, right?
Yeah, it's mostly the like the passion of people and the stuff that the passion in the stuff that they're doing, right? Because this is I feel like this is like humanistic storytelling overall, right? To be able to go to someone, ask them like, what is it that makes you like wake up in the morning and want to like contribute all your energy to some project that you're not even like sure if it's gonna like pay the bills or whatever, like why do you do this? And it's that feeling of that people have that I really want to kind of like capture and display to the whole world in a way.
Yeah, and I think more than ever now is I think maybe this is also just a continuation of us, like in season 1 we still had the energy to talk about our passion, but it's like kind of ran out at this point in time. Maybe. So it's like now we have to outsource that the passionate talk to other people or something.
Oh boy, outsourcing.
No, but I'm super excited to hear more about that too. And I think for my end, and we talked about this offcast a bit, is that so I'm really curious to hear also about their stories, of course, but also kind of like why they play these types of games, because we'll get into that, like what type of games we actually have lined up. But some of the games that the people are playing are very much like an odd choice in terms of like what you can be competitive in esports or like competitive games. Like you can play, you know, Fortnite or whatever and get continuous content. You can get the support from the developers, or you can play this like 12-year-old game that no one knows about with a bunch of people that is like maybe maximum of 50 others. It's like, why do you even decide to like prioritize that game over another that is like more supported? I think those stories will be interesting for me to hear, and also the game design stuff. I kind of
of course the game design.
No, but seriously, some of the mechanics, and I've been thinking about that, is like, you know, a lot of the games today that are popular, they have so many things that like entice you to continue playing, whether that's like game passes or whatever, or MTX. But I think some of these games that we're gonna look at, they don't have the luxury or the, I guess, the money to kind of put into that continuous content schedule. So like there's nothing really bringing them back besides the game itself and the community. So both of those elements is something I'm hyped to get into. And I guess on that topic, the episode format for these upcoming episodes will be basically divided into 3 sections, where we kind of both get introduced to the guest that we have on the episode. We'll have one new guest for each episode, and then we'll both kind of learn more about them, but also discuss either the community and region that they're in, or the game that they play. And at the end, we'll do this sort of evaluation where we kind of summarize everything and see if we've gotten any learnings from that. And I guess that's also worth to mention. I don't know if I actually mentioned this in the introduction, but that's why we have an introduction episode. Woo! Is that besides the games, I've also felt that that niche sports, or like segments of the esports community, can also be divided into smaller regions. So some of the games that we're kind of looking into, I think I can for sure say that we have them confirmed, is like we're looking at Neo Tokyo, which is an old source mod game, Quantum League, which is this like early access indie game, and Wargroove, which is also like this turn-based strategy game. We're also taking a look at regions such as Indonesia, and I really, really want to have an episode on Japan, because, you know, we both share an interest of Japan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so those regional, I guess, episodes will be more focused on maybe how the community has been built there and what their challenges are. I'm almost thinking we should do one in Sweden, but I don't. Maybe that's like too self-serving.
No, I think that would still be really valuable. A lot of the content out there that's English based, right? I don't know if it necessarily goes too deep or deep enough into Sweden's own esports industry and culture.
Yeah, I think so. From the perspective of this episode, like when we say mainstream, or like, I guess what everyone is talking about, I think the perspective is from a North American perspective, even though I'm Swedish, so it sounds a bit weird. But what has the big corporate money and like eyes from the big corporations in the Western world, which by extension includes Europe, but rarely you focus on the different aspects of Europe, because there is a lot of different regions that are very, like, they are not the same. Like the esports scene in, I don't know, Iceland is pretty different from, I don't know, Slovakia. Like it could be insane, but with that being said, of these like games and regions, we also kind of wanted to have this small call to action, I guess, is to ask anyone who's listening to this, is that, you know, if you have a region that you want us to focus on in an upcoming episode, or a game that you love that no one knows about, you should definitely reach out to us, whether that is on Twitter or I guess, I don't know if you can message people on like podcast platforms, like message me on Spotify. That, I don't think that works, but
no, I think, yeah, you gotta drop an email or something, or a Google form.
Yeah, I think Twitter is the best case scenario. Just reach out to us on Twitter. But so I guess just as to top it off with this introduction, I also kind of wanted to hear your thoughts about this day, but like, what's our goal with this episode? And I think for me, or not episode, but this season rather, and for me it's like, I ideally, and this is like a very high level, like aiming for the stars kind of thing, but I was hoping to make some sort of like library of episodes to be able to expand people's perception of esports, so that it's not just League of Legends, CSGO, and whatever, you know, like esports is a way bigger thing than that. And I think there's a lot of greatness that you don't know about, and I am hoping to kind of both educate myself, but also anyone listening to, I guess, learn more about it as a whole. But do you have anything that personally, or anything that you want to shine through with this season?
Yeah, that's big, dude. But I think that's a good goal to have, honestly. Like, I agree. I was originally just going to say, no, my goal is to have fun, dude. As long as I'm having fun, I'm set. But no, I think learning about these niche esports, I think is one goal, right? Like, it piques my curiosity for sure. Like when you started sending me links of like, hey, these are games that people play competitively, I was like, no way, dude. Like we must go deeper.
Yeah, but that and good. I'm glad to hear that. And I'm hoping that that's kind of the feeling. Or I was almost gonna say viewers, but this time we're not doing it live stream. We're actually recording these like normal podcasters do, not insane Twitch streamers. But I'm hoping that the listeners will feel the same. In any case, if you feel the same and you're interested in the niche esports communities and stories that can be told, then I hope that you stay with us and listen to the upcoming episodes of this season. So, without further ado, I hope to see you there and then. And thank you for listening so far.